Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I have arrived in Sugar Land, Texas at Imperial Park disc golf course, and I'm here to play a little 10-hole round of disc golf. Let's go see how it plays out. Wow, it's weird that nobody's here except for me. Except, oh no, it's 102 degrees and it feels like it's 113 degrees. Well, this will be fun. Okay, we're dealing with a bit of an intense headwind here. The basket is straight ahead, just behind and under that tree. UDIS reports 222 feet, but I measured it via Bushnell. It's 255, which is a pump for me, especially in the wind. So the goal here is just get it straight and not to trip under the undulated ground. Okay, I can deal with that. Okay, so I got here with my FD. One of the things I wanted to mention here is the reason I'm playing solo is because last time I was playing at Imperial Park with both Sean and Mike, I expressed an interest in coming back here and playing, and neither one of them wanted anything to do with Imperial Park, which I understand. It's basically wide open, with just exposed to the winds, and it's very hot. So that's why I'm here, taking advantage of this opportunity to get a round of disc golf in when basically everyone's not around. One thing I'll point out is that basket is 55 feet away per Bushnell. So I got maybe 200 feet off that drive. And there's something I want to talk about once I hopefully make this par here. Good bid. The thing I want to talk about today is the word scramble. Okay, the tee pad says 372, UDisc is pretty close to that. The basket is way over there. You're not going to be able to make it out on camera unless I point it out, but if you're looking at sort of a brown apartment complex, that's kind of what it's behind. But anyways, I've got my Mysteria here. This is going to be a full pump for me just to get it within scramble range. Holy smokes, okay, that was really good. Wow, the wind's really kicking up. So the first time I ever heard the term scramble, or read the term, it was in relation to a team of 2 or more people playing on a course to try to beat a certain score. So scramble was used in that context. Later on I found out it was used in a more popular, common context where you make a drive off the tee, you try to say it's a bad drive, and it's shanked. We need to make an upshot to get you within distance to make a putt if it's a par 3, and to save a par. Well, anytime you save a par, you know, you basically successfully scramble, and that's something that I need to focus on in my game. I'm 90 feet out per Bushnell. Yes, sir. In this case, my drive was not a shank off the tee. It was basically about as good as I could expect, and my upshot got me within 18 feet per Bushnell. So that basically doesn't mean that in this case that I've scrambled, even if I make the basket, which it's a death putt, and it's on an angle. Okay, well, the wind has picked up, and I'm already kind of tired, and I've just reached hole 3. UDIS reports this is 259, but the tee pad and Bushnell reports it's much closer to 290, a little bit more. So I'm going to take the same disc from Mysteria, I'm going to throw it out that way, and hopefully it doesn't skip too far to the left. I thought I was going to have to demonstrate a scramble. Okay. Straightish. All right, so I got lucky here in that I made it to 37 feet away from the basket. So I probably got about 260 and change on it this way, and then there's a little bit that way. So this is about as good as I can expect. Technically, I've got a birdie look, 37 feet, but look at that death drop. So I don't think I'm gonna be able to make that. So, and I don't want to end up having to scramble to save a par. So I'm gonna lay it down here. Yes, sir, under the basket. I mean, literally, it is under the basket. Good boy. Okay, UDisc is a little closer to what these report. The T sign and Bushnell reports 320. The wind isn't going away, and I'm actually a little scared of pulling it to the right. So I'm gonna play a more conservative play with my Wraith. This is a G-Star 173 to 175. Hopefully this will save me from shanking it. Ooh, I shanked it a little bit and I put it high. This is not good. Well, I mean, I've thrown worse. You know, the funny thing is, I think I would have actually gotten closer if I'd used the Mystere, because I think this was too stable. And I think the Mystere would have put me about, you know, 10, 20 feet closer. Anyways, I'm 92 feet out per Bushnell. I'm gonna get my Rhino again. And, oh boy. Well, thank goodness that's my Rhino. I seem to be doing good with that disc. Okay, well, I can't really complain given the circumstances, but kind of worries me that it's getting hotter and windier. Okay, so Bushnell says 239. The T sign says 247. So U-disc isn't too far off. But now I've got a tailwind for this throw, so that's good. Some of you might remember that Mike got a brilliant ace here like a year and change ago. I managed to get a solo birdie, but it was completely overshadowed and outclassed by his ace. That said, I've got my fairway disc here, FD. I'm gonna throw towards the basket. Yes, sir, I'm on the shelf, although I've got a long putt. All right, Bushnell measured it 41, 42 feet. So just to be honest, I'm hesitant to do a safe bid, but I'll give it a shot. But I don't need this birdie. And I'm not going to get the birdie. So I was talking with Wyatt the other day, and I told him I was starting to warm up to the idea of running more aggressive putts towards the basket, because in most cases I can get the comebackers. But I think honestly I was just too tentative here because of the slope, and I didn't want to have to give an example of scrambling for par if I didn't have to. All right, I feel good about this one. The T, sign, Bushnell, and U-disc all give this about the same distance. That said, it is a pump. I've got a huge right to left wind, so instead of throwing something significantly stable, I'm throwing something understable like the small bend. All I want to do is flatten it out, try to minimize its profile against the wind, and I'm confident it'll fade to the left. And the only downside is the ground is undulated on every one of these tee pads. That's a little high, but it is safe, and I'm over there, and that should be a safe run for a par. So something I've learned about me psychologically is when I'm on a fairly open course like this, I tend to shank less often, whereas if I'm in the woods and I gotta shoot a tunnel shot or whatever, I tend to get inaccurate a lot more often in terms of off the tee, up shots and everything. And I'm not exactly sure why. If you guys and gals have experienced this, please let me know what y'all have done to deal with tunnel shots and in the woods throwing. Because out here in Houston, we don't have quite as many wooded courses. And I, of course, distribute my time between all the courses. So it's 65. I can actually putt it to the basket. Generally, if it's 60 or in, I'll putt. This is at the edge. I think I can get it. I mean, like, look at that. Absolutely zero hesitation, frustration, and it went exactly as planned. Why can't I do this in the woods? I mean, just to give an example, Imperial Park is a wide open course, and that's the one where, you know, I won an MA4 tournament and got an ace. But Timberlane Park, which is a much shorter course, and 7 to 8 of its holes are in the woods or alongside the woods. All the other holes are alongside the woods, and that course gives me no end to fits, and I'm frequently hitting trees. I don't know, it's a puzzle. Okay, so this is a very unique hole, and the interesting thing about it is you have two ways to get to the basket. The basket is 160 feet away from here through that, so you can do a hyzer over, like backhand hyzer, or forehand hyzer around here, or if you're lefty, I'm sure you could do a backhand hyzer, forehand hyzer, maybe some sort of turnover, I don't know, but I think it's better to fade that way and fade that way based on what you're going to do. I'm going to actually throw a shot on the outside because I'm a backhand dominant player. But after that, I'm going to rearrange the camera for both shots, but I'm going to try a sidearm that way. I just want to see if I can throw a sidearm straightish and flat about 160 feet. Let's see how it plays out. Okay, so I put the camera over there. I've got my Lone Star harpoon. I'm just going to throw it that way and just see if it can hook around. That's about all I want, to be honest. All right, now let me try a sidearm. Okay, so to be honest, it's not a really good shot that I can show you what I'm about to do from over here. So I've got my Rock 3. I'm just going to try to pipe it straight and just see if I can get it to fade. Honestly, that's about as good as I can do a forehand right now. It was dead straight, but I'm pretty sure that's a lot farther away from the basket than the harpoon. Okay, so while the sidearm didn't feel like as good of a shot as the backhand, it looks to be just a little bit closer than the harpoon to this basket. That said, the disc I'm going to take is this harpoon because, you know, this is the one I was going to do anyways. I was just experimenting with the Rock 3. That said, this is what I've got. All right, per Bushnell, this is 51 feet away. I'm going to get that just so I can get an extra foot towards the basket. All I want to do is, you know what, I will try a soft floaty bid. Bah. And after looking at both lines, I don't think this hole is aceable outside of using something crazy overstable like a tilt or some other sorcery. Okay, so this T sign says 286, which is a little longer than what UDisc gives it. Just to be honest, this is a terrible hole for trying to reach the basket unless you do some crazy sky hyzer, you know, with a lot of power, which is way beyond my ability to do. But otherwise, you're playing for relatively short distance shot under these tunnels. And since I'm backhand dominant, I'm going to have to take the right tunnel. All right, well, the good news is we get to test my ability to throw through a tunnel. Got my Aviar X3. All I want to do is get maybe 100, a little more than 100 feet. I think I'll have a better throw from there. Oh boy, that's inside. That's not good. Alrighty, per Bushnell, the basket is 160 feet away. I do not have a line of sight to it, so I have to throw something overstable that way and hope that it fades. This will be my second tunnel shot in a row. Really just using another putter. This is my Pig, and I'm just trying to get it out there. And I'm actually okay with the 4 on this hole, so let's not set expectations high. Oh man, that's inside. Oh, I mean outside. Oh, that's terrible. Okay, let me actually rephrase this. This isn't terrible for me. I guess if you have really high standards, that's terrible. And I guess I expected better of myself because I put 160 foot of power on the Pig. But the fact is, I kept it on the wrong line. I threw a little late, hit a little bit of branch, and didn't go that far. So I'm 55 out per Bushnell. Take this nice and slow. I'm going to do a soft bid, but I don't want to put this into the shoal behind it. I just pulled it to the right, and I kept it too low, so that was not a good bid. Okay, you can see basically where I was over there. Keep in mind there's poison ivy along there, so I was really worried about getting into the brush. So this would not be a successful scramble. Okay, as the crow flies, it's exactly 370 from here to the basket. That's what the T-pad sign says. And I went over there with my Bushnell, had a direct line of sight, 370. So what UDisc is saying is wrong. My typical play is a flat, straightish shot with something unstable. Hopefully it'll get as far as possible. There's also the overstable hyzer gap that way. That may be easier to do, but it's a tighter gap. So I'm going to try a leopard straight through there. I'm winded. This heat and everything incoming. That's as good as I'm ever going to get. Let me try a hyzer shot just to see what that looks like. Okay, I'm gonna need something helliciously overstable. So for me, that's this Wraith. Just gonna see what it looks like, because I've never thrown this before. That's really good. Hopefully it's not in that brush. Okay, well this is a pretty good play. I just made it past the brush. I'm 164 from the basket, so I may have to remember this in the future. But that said, there is a strong left to right wind, and I feel more confident in a flat throw with the leopard given the circumstances. So the good news, I got a little farther with this. I'm 136, 137 out. From here, given the left to right crosswind, I want to throw kind of flattish with this Rhino, and it should combat the wind. 137 feet. Yes sir, got a putt. And the one thing you'll note is I'm spending a lot of time off camera getting out the Bushnell, thinking about what I'm going to do, making a disc selection, throwing the slowest disc I can for the landing spot that I want to hit, etc., etc., etc. So that's one of the reasons I'm making this video, because I played a tournament last week, or a few days ago. I didn't play the tournament, I was playing alongside Wyatt, who was playing the tournament. And while I had a really good score there, I made a number of mistakes, particularly when scrambling in terms of upshots, that I knew better. You know, I can't prevent drives from being shanked a lot of times, or even throws from being shanked, but there are intelligent decisions I can make with regard to what type of throw to use, what type of disc to use, what type of line, etc. And that's what I'm doing off camera. So that's why I'm more successful here, in addition to it being a relatively open course. All right, per Bushnell, I'm 19 feet from the basket. It looks like it's maybe a foot or two closer actually, but I don't know, whatever. Take my time, nice and slow, not in a hurry. I'm trying to hit the chain in front of the pole. Ooh, I hit it about 3 lengths too high, but it was still perfect. There's a crosswind going that way, that helped. Okay, the T sign says 482 from right here in this divot. It says 485 per Bushnell. Finally get to bring out my Mamba. 11.6, -5.1 with the tailwind behind me. I just want to see what distance I can get with this. Nice and slow. Wow, that's super overstable in this wind. You know, I'm going to try just for giggles. Let me try this leopard. Same conditions, but this is legitimately unstable with my power. I may have got about the same distance, we'll see. All right, here's my Mamba, and from here I'm 225 from the basket, and here is my leopard, so I beat it by another 20 feet, so that was actually the better play. That said, I'm gonna have to play with my Mamba. Got a tailwind, the only disc, well, the disc that I trust the most is this leopard. All I wanna do is get close. There we go, as good as I'm gonna get. Well, I'll have a putt, but not a close one. All right, per Bushnell, 38 feet. So this is now probably like 37. I basically don't have it in me, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I've got a tailwind behind me, so I gotta put a little more on it. Oh my fuck. Oh my goodness. All right, so I'm gonna try to do more of these outros on the course at the end of the video. Just so you know, I personally like this course. I think it's a great course when the temperature is in like the 70s and the wind is about half the current speed, whatever it was. I still had a lot of fun, but I'll be honest, this took everything out of me. It's the only round I'm gonna play today. I think tomorrow I might be able to get a round in with Sean, another course, but it's not gonna be a long one. But that's going to do it. If you're in the area, if you're in or near Sugar Land, definitely hit up this course. I think it's one of the better courses in Houston, despite it being relatively open. I think it's great for recreational disc golfers at my level, or for like team ups and scrambles, you know, for novice, beginner, and recreational players. And there's alternate layouts and everything else. So that is going to do it. Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, as I have more, hopefully less exhausting content on the way. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.